Okay, so let's go to our course Blackboard. And always you can start from schedule, week number 1. So we're going to look at a little bit of unit 2. Okay? And this week's assignment will be self-introduction video. Okay? And a few things, I think we had some broken links last Tuesday. So if you go to lesson 1-2, here screen capture software, if you remember, this one was kind of broken link because George Mason recently updated their Kaltura support page. So now it's fixed. If you click here, you will go to this how to install Kaltura software, and then from here you can get to know how to install it and how to use it. Okay. And if you don't want to use Kaltura, there are some other software you can possibly use, such as Screencast-O-Matic or Camtasia or OBS or even like Prep. So there are many other screen capture software. And one reason we are doing this is eventually if you want to create your gameplay video, well, in fact, like in GAME232, I go over how to use different screen capture software. So sometimes it's required for you to use screen capture software. Okay? So let's say this is kind of a little practice. Okay? So easiest software you can get an access to right now is Kaltura because it's free and free for George Mason University students. So you can get to know how to use it. And later on, eventually, you probably use screen capture software and then edit it with either Adobe Premiere or some other video editing software. But in the meantime, you can use Kaltura for these types of presentation. Okay. All right, and another thing, I just created this class recordings. So if you go here, okay, in-class lecture demonstration recordings, so you will go to this channel that will contain all the recordings from the class. Okay, so this one is from last Tuesday. I know most of you guys were here, so probably you don't have to check it. But if needed, I'm going to post all these class recordings right over here. And another thing is, because we are going to have many small assignments, and sometimes you get stuck, and then what I usually recommend is you email me all of your code and everything. Then what I usually do, I review your code. I try not to fix everything for you, but I usually try to kind of help you fix your code. So for instance, like sometimes I get like some broken thing, and then I open it and then try to go through the code and try to point out. Usually I try to show you how to do the troubleshooting and some like try to go through what's the best way to kind of fix your code issues. And then sometimes it's not easy because I try not to just fix everything for you, but I try to give you some guidance so that you can fix your like problem. Okay? So that's another thing. So usually what I do whenever I get that request, I make this video tutorial and then I post it on course Blackboard so that you can kind of see what are common mistakes from coding in this class, and then hopefully you kind of learn something from other people's mistake as well. Okay? So I'm going to post all these things right over here. Okay? All right, let's go to week number 1. Now let's go to Unit 2. Set up Unity and getting started. Okay. So in Unit 2, okay, you will learn what game engines is and what available game engines are. Find out what game engines were used for popular games. Learn history of Unity 3D, set up Unity 3D game engine, learn Unity 3D interface elements basic concept. So this is something we're going to do in Unit 2. So let's look at lesson 2-1, game engine. What is it? Okay. So lesson 2-1 overview, understand what game engine is, learn what game engines are available in game industry, identify game engines used for popular games in industry. So these are good information to know. So usually I try not to spend too much time on this kind of things, but I prepare those things for your reference. Okay, so as a game major and you hope to go into this game industry, imagine sometimes at job interview, like people might ask you questions like, what game engines are you using? And obviously, I mean, like that's very simple stuff. But I want you to be able to articulate certain things, not necessarily for this class, but for later use. So I try to put some summary of all this information. So we'll just skim through this part, but at your leisure, try to kind of come back and get to know what they are. Like for instance, even though you're a game major, sometimes people don't understand what game engines are, and then if they probably, and some people like just know just two engines, Unity and Unreal. But actually there are many different game engines, and then not anymore I would say, but until a few years ago, many companies actually created their own engine. Okay? But it has been changed a little bit because now they realize it's not really financially good decision to create their own engine. So like now they're kind of like recycling other stuff they did and try to just use the game engines available out there. Okay. All right. So game engine. This one is I actually got this information from unity3d.com website. So this is something you can easily get. Okay. Game engine is the software that provides game creators with a necessary set of features to build games quickly and efficiently. Okay? So again, you probably remember if you took GAME232, the coding for game designer, and you probably remember to create a simple dungeon game, you actually have to create all this kind of the coding and small files in your game structure. Okay, so that's because you didn't use any engine. Well, you sort of use it SDL, but that's not really engine. So basically, game engine allow you to create game quickly and efficiently with less time because it has features for you to be able to use to create your game. Okay? So again, you can actually go to this link if you like to, and unity3d.com provides pretty good information about game engine and other things. So here, game engine, how do they work? Okay, and then they actually give you information about graphics, audio, networking, physics, GUI, graphics users interface, and scripting, and all these things. Okay, so again, I'm not asking you to memorize this, or I'm not asking you to memorize this, but they're good to know. Okay, so at your leisure, try to read them and then try to make yourself familiar with this information. Okay. And popular game engines in industry. Okay, we'll just skim through again. Okay, if you go to this link, yeah, We don't trust Wikipedia that much, but sometimes it has necessary information. Okay? So this one has like all these engines with its timeline. So it's pretty good information. So we're not going to look at every single thing, but as you can see, there are many game engines out there. You have to understand some of them are available to public and some of them are not. So again, in game industry, we used to, a game company used to create their own game engine. So that's why probably we don't know that many game engines listed here. Okay? But recently, that has been changed. Many game company kind of began to use game engines available so that like you can actually see. And then sometimes if you're lucky, some companies release their assets for free. Okay? So usually Unreal does that a lot. Like Epic Games does that a lot. Like they sometimes just release all the assets, they use it for a certain project, and then they release it. Mainly Unreal does that because like they actually want to get more royal users of Unreal Engine. But hey, why not? I mean, if they're free, you can take a look at them and you can use it for your project. And Unreal Engine, I'm sure you know what it is. Okay, very popular game engine. And usually, it's not always true, but usually people say Unreal Engine has better graphics in terms of 3D. So in terms of 3D lighting, okay, so usually 3D lighting is connected to shader programming. And I mean, it's hard to say, but like people often say Unreal give you a little more advantage in 3D game because their lighting system is better than Unity. And then another thing is they are using Blueprint, not directly scripting for their game. So sometimes people use Unreal to create quick prototype. Plus, sometimes they just don't want to get into scripting right away. So sometimes people use Unreal Engine. So maybe if you're not familiar with Blueprint, let me try to actually find it. You will see something like this. So a lot of times in Unreal Engine, you can basically connect all these scripting assets in Blueprint to create some interactivity within the game. Okay. So again, this could be a good thing, but at the same time, this could be a bad thing because if you script something by yourself, you can have like customized scripting, and then you can make something you envisioned like happen in the game world easily. But here, if you are limited access to scripting, to make certain things, you might have to put like 5 or 6 blocks and then connect them to make that one simple thing happen. Okay, so depending on your workflow, okay, it might work for you, it might not. But Unreal is a pretty popular game engine out there, okay? And they're using Blueprint. And there's CryEngine, okay, by Crytek. Okay. So compared to Unity and Unreal, it's kind of less popular. But again, like there are many publicly commercially available engines out there, so you can use or kind of go through this website to get to know what CryEngine is and what Crytek did. And again, I think CryEngine released their assets package a lot. Same reason, like because they want to get more royal users. So CryEngine released some interesting package they used it before, so that you can download and then see it. Okay? And there's default game engine. For 2D puzzle games or 2D games, this is pretty good to use. Again, for quick prototyping or to create something simple, okay, you can try default game engine. Okay. So at this point, I mean, you don't have to download them and use them, but try to get to know there are many different engines available, and maybe at your leisure or for summer project, you can kind of tap onto one game engine, download available assets, and play with it. And Unity 3D. Okay. So most people know what Unity is, I guess, and this is an engine that we are using. Okay. Again, it's not like we are married to this engine, but we ended up using this because Unity is one of the most popular game engines out there. And then again, like I mentioned many times today, many game companies actually embracing using game engine, and many game companies uses Unity. Okay? So we think getting or mastering Unity will give you a pretty good chance to get a job. Okay? So that's why we ended up picking Unity over Unreal. Okay? So this is the engine we're going to use. Okay? So we're going to spend some time on this site, but here, this is unity.com. It used to be unity3d.com, I think. They changed it. Yeah. Well, actually, let me try unity3d.com. Maybe it will just redirect it to unity.com, yeah. So unity.com. Yeah. You can get to know what it is and what you can do with this game engine. Okay. And then especially time to time, you can go to Made with Unity page, and then you will see what games, okay, they're made of or made with Unity. Okay. So there are many games. Okay. Well, Cuphead was popular, very popular a couple of years ago, and of course it used Unity. Okay. So at your leisure, you can always go there and get to know what popular games use it like Unity. And maybe I'm going to kind of show you how to do this later, but there are many different ways to actually rip game assets from existing game. So sometimes, maybe I'll show you later, but let's say if you have Cuphead game, you can possibly kind of rip their graphic assets and then see how the animation was kind of created or something like that. So again, we thought Unity is a better choice because there are more games, more popular games out there made with Unity, so that you can kind of look at your limitation, your own limitation. Oh, like this is something that everybody does with Unity, so maybe you can do it too. And here, I put just a few sentences about like a best game engine. Okay? It's impossible to pick one game engine as the best game engine. Okay? You have to review your options and choose the best game engine you can use. So this side provides information regarding the best engine available, and you can get a good sense of what to consider when choosing the game engine for your project. So if you go to this site, okay, it will give you some information about game engine. Okay. So here you see Unreal and Unity. Okay. Here, market presence and satisfaction and contender leader. So Unity and Unreal are two kind of best game engines out there. But depending on what you want to do, okay, you can actually pick some other things as well. Okay. And then again, I'm not going to go over every single thing here, but these are kind of good information to consider. So at your leisure, try to visit the site and read them. Okay, then, and game engines for this class. So this class, we're going to use Unity. Okay? And again, Unity will give you, Unity use it a lot in this industry. So it's better for you to know what it is, because in our industry, many people use it. So you don't want to be left out and not knowing what's going on in the industry. And number two, Unity uses C# as a scripting language, and this is a very powerful tool. And C# is not exactly same as C++, but you knowing some scripting languages, like programming languages, will give you a little more advantage to get a job in this industry. Okay? So we think Unity is best choice because while learning the software, you have to kind of use some programming language, and it will give you better understanding about building a game, and hopefully this understanding about kind of back-end process will give you, put you in a better position to get a job in this industry. Okay, so there's one like little assignment. Okay, identifying game engine used in your favorite game. This is a discussion board. You don't have to do it now. Okay, you can do it later. I want you to think about, just pick 3 games, and well, one person already did it. So try to kind of look at your like favorite games, and then try to get to know what game engines were used to create that game. Okay, I bet it would be usually either Unity or Unreal, but sometimes if it's 2D game, you get like default, or for some other games, CryEngine. Okay, so you don't have to do it now. Okay, don't do it now, but at your leisure, please look at the games you like, and then try to find out what game engines were used in your favorite game. Okay, that will conclude lesson 2-1. So we are going to move to lesson 2-2. Introduction to Unity. Okay. So here, again, these are basically information you can get yourself. So I'm not going to go over every single thing, okay? But you can kind of take a look at this video later. So made with Unity. So I basically went over all these tabs in Unity 3D or Unity.com website. Okay? So made with Unity will give you information about games that were made with Unity. Okay, and then Unity product page will give you information about what you need to download and what products are available throughout Unity. Okay. So now, as you can see, they have like all these different things you can do with Unity. And I know like Unity recently released a feature that you can edit some lightings and rendering, 3D rendering in real time. So that's pretty unique feature. Okay. So that will allow people, especially with 5G connection, that's something that we will have soon. It will actually it will be utilized a lot in different types of project. And then here, one thing I want you to understand is sometimes, okay, you're a game major, and then you're thinking, oh, I'm going to work for a game company. But then again, you might need to diversify that plan sometimes because now game engines are used in all different types of industry. Okay, so sometimes our graduate in the past got a job in like government agencies to do modeling for the government agencies. So sometimes game engines use it not necessarily to create a game. Okay? So that's something you have to understand. Okay? So again, these products will give you pretty good information about what you can do with Unity. So don't limit yourself just as in the game industry, and sometimes you can do even more. And actually, I have to talk about this. Okay, so you can go to latest release. What happened? Okay, get started. Okay. Unity is free. Okay, so for beginner personal, you can download this personal edition, and this is free. Okay? And for teams and freelancers, you can get Pro. It's $125 per month, and there's Pro Plus version, which is $25 per month. Okay? So in Unity, let me talk about this. I want to know whether you know this or not. Okay. Let's say you want to build a good game. You want to sell it on Android, Google Play Store, or App Store on Apple. Can you use personal edition? Yes. Okay. That's a good answer. And actually, right answer. And so the bottom line is, you can use this personal edition for commercial use, as long as you don't make that much money. So it's kind of interesting. Basically, so Unity encourages people to use Unity to create their commercial game. Okay? But they're basically saying, oh, you can just have fun and then make some like a small project for free. But once you make some money, please give us back. Okay? So once you hit like 100K revenue, they want you to buy the Pro license. And then personal edition will give you a little disadvantage. So if you play some game, there's many like Spawn or the company logo or pages, landing pages, and usually if you are using personal edition, you will see made with Unity logo. Okay? So if you use personal free edition, like you have to embed that Unity logo. You cannot get rid of it. But if you pay $25 per month, you can actually get rid of it. You can put your own company logo. Okay? And Pro version is for like a big companies. Okay? And yeah, sometimes it's kind of tricky because I do have my own company, and then yes, the software actually costs a lot. Okay? But recently, I see a lot of better pricing models. Like for instance, 3D Studio Max is free for educators and educational usage, so you can use it for free. But if you want to make some money with that software, you probably are recommended to purchase it. Like last year, it was almost $1,500, but now actually they have $300 per year for startup companies. So now they realize, they want to encourage people to use their product more and more. So they actually drop the price a lot. So even for Plus, like you can get $25 per month for 1 year, and then it will go up to $35. But bottom line is, for this class, and while you are in school, you can use personal edition. Okay? And then maybe sometimes what's going to happen is you probably will not have any good enough game that you want to sell until senior year, I would say. So for your senior capstone class, I hope you will make kind of good enough game that you want to release and publish it. And then what people usually do, just use personal edition to develop it. And then once you graduate, purchase that Plus edition and release it. Then it would take probably just like $25. And other issue in terms of licensing, like a personal, I have to check the number, but for Unity collab and other features, free version has some like limitation. So like for instance, I do have my company, my own company, and then we usually have like 5 to 6 people in one project, and then I had to kind of purchase more seats because I want everybody on the project together. So sometimes I think I have to check the personal version. Probably it will allow to have like 3 or 4, I don't know. But then again, they recently came up with some like education or something. So I think like I was told, I heard that like you can put up to 10 people in one project, but I didn't check like personally. So I'll check that and then I'll let you know. Whenever we look at the for midterm in this class, like it will be a group project, and then I'll go over how to use Unity Collab and how to use a cloud storage that Unity provides. All right, that is that. So and then you can look at some other things. Learn and community. Okay. Unity Learn has a lot of good information about Unity. Okay. So here, get trained by Unity certified instructors. And there's Unity Learn platform. And so here, there's like a Unity plus USC game unlocked and all these things. Yeah. I actually, if you're interested, you want to explore more about Unity certification, but actually Unity approached it to us to be part of that program like USC, but basically it was, I talked to them and then it was too expensive. So I felt like, you basically want to make money. So we said no, but they do have certificate program. Okay? But the question is whether it will actually give you any advantage in job market. Still question mark. But anyways, they do have this certificate. And on this page, one what I want you to really pay attention to is documentation and support. So if you go to documentation, there's Unity manual. Okay? So there's going to be a bunch of manuals, and then you can take a look at it and look at what they have. So here, Unity 2019.2, and there's working in Unity, installing Unity Hub, and all this information, getting started, okay. And asset workflow package. So you can actually get pretty good information about Unity and how to use the software by going through information on this page. Okay. So technically, obviously, I mean, you will probably get more information than what you need. Okay. So mainly what we're going to do, for some of my video tutorial has a link in it that links to one of these pages, either in documentation or reference. Okay, so for more in-depth knowledge, you can always visit this page and then take a look at it and get more information. Okay. And one more thing. So if you look at here, Unity user manual selection sections, they do have pretty good set of video tutorials. So if you look at Unity 2D, okay, there's many interesting stuff you can get to know. Okay, so try to visit this site time to time and get to know the software, okay, if needed. Okay. And there's community. Okay, Unity community, a few things. Documentation is important because documentation will give you manual, and later on you can find some documentation on coding. Okay, so it will give you that coding reference and sometimes glossaries. Okay. And other things, I really don't use it, but they do have forums. Okay. Go to forum, and you can post your question here. Okay. And then there are many people in this community, so probably you will get some good answers time to time. Okay. And then sometimes when you Google your question, you'll probably find the link to one of that Unity forum page. Okay. So again, I probably said something similar I just said in this video tutorials. So if you like to, you can check that out. Okay. Okay, and now lesson 2-3, getting started with Unity 3D. Okay. Okay, here, this one actually was a little bit outdated, so we're going to do it slightly differently. Okay, I made it like last year, so I used it 2018, but now we're using 2019. And actually, can one of you guys open Unity in the station and tell me what which version we're using? Is it 19.2? What 2019? Yours?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
mine's
sure?
also 2017.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice. I'm not sure what happened. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, we'll try to fix it, or I'll try to look at what happened. Or I have to check because you can actually install like a multiple version of Unity. I'm not probably so. If you can you find like Unity Hub? Do you have Unity Hub? Yeah, maybe that's why. If you have Unity Hub, it will allow you to actually open. So you can have actually multiple versions. So you can choose. So you can like go to Unity Hub and then see. Yeah, you can actually choose which version you are going to use. So maybe that's why we have 2017, 18, and 19. Oh, yours 19? Yeah. Yours actually 2019.2. We have 2019.2.
How do I do it on cloud?
Go back. Yeah, it's 2019.2. So maybe I think we do have 2019.2. So don't open it from Unity. Just open Unity Hub. But I just want to check like which version you have, like 19.2. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at it. So one thing you can do, you can always go to Unity products page, okay, and they will post the latest version. Okay. So Unity basically. This could be a good thing or bad thing again. Like they release like new version every 6 months. Okay? So now we have like 2019. Okay? And then obviously next year they will release like a 2020. Okay? And so sometimes, I mean, a lot of times they usually have these minor changes for one like upgrade, so it's not that big a deal. But one thing you have to make sure is Unity doesn't have backward compatibility, meaning if you work something with 2019, if you want to open that in 2018, it's not guaranteed it's going to work. Okay, so usually if you just work by yourself, it doesn't matter. But if you work with other people, one thing we want to make sure is everybody uses the same version. Okay, so Unity Hub actually allow you to have like a better version control. But when we didn't have Unity Hub, like it was like at the beginning of the project, we make sure, okay, we're going to use Unity 2017. Even if there's a 2018 coming out, please do not upgrade it, because we want to keep the same version. Okay? Again, Unity does not have backward compatibility. Okay, so one of your team uses higher version, and then if you open it like lower version, sometimes it works, but it's not guaranteed to work. Yes.
So if a team is working on a game for
Yeah.
more than a year, do they bypass that situation?
So usually, okay, it depends. I mean, they can all like upgrade it together at the same time, but usually in like reality, in like AAA studios, they probably takes about I would say 2 to 3 years to complete a project. Then yes, sometimes they need to upgrade it, but as long as everyone's on the same page, it's fine. But yeah. Yeah, so I mean, sometimes it happens, right? Originally, I mean, I came from Korea. Korea is a big like game IT country, and then they recently closed one project, like Nexon. Nexon closed one project. They've been working for 9 years. They spent like almost, I think, 8 to 9, like 80 to 90 million dollars. And they just close the project. That took like project that they have been working for like like 8 or 9 years. That's crazy, right? But sometimes it happens, and then yeah, like you probably think, oh, what version of their engine they're using? But probably they created their own version engine. But yeah, sometimes it happens. And again, as long as you guys, everyone upgrade the version at the same time, that's fine. But version conflict sometimes happens, and you have to make sure everyone uses the same version. Okay. So now, whenever you start downloading it, if you just download personal version, like you'll be fine. And then now you will actually get Unity installer, and then it will help you download the software. Okay. And if you want to download previous version, it is still possible. So like if you Google like a Unity previous versions, and then you can actually go to the page, download archive, and then you can download previous versions. Okay. But usually you don't have to. But sometimes what happens in industry, like I say, if you want to use like if you look at some assets, pretty good assets, but that was created with like Unity 5, like which is like probably 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, and then sometimes it works until like 2017, but it doesn't work with 2018. Then let's say we really don't have enough time to make all these changes or update it, then maybe sometimes you just download 2017, use the asset, create quick prototype, and move on. Okay. But sometimes you might need to download older version, and you can still download it. You can go to this download archive page and find the version you want to use. Okay. And again, I'm not really big fan of this like too many upgrades, but yeah, they're doing it like very often. So now, like August 28th, yesterday released like 2019.2.3. Okay, so sometimes it's even annoying. Like whenever you open it, like, oh, newer version is available. Would you like to download? But my answer is no. Please download it. Anything new until the end of semester. Okay, so that everyone kind of use the same version. Okay. Okay, and then you probably wonder Mac or PC. Pretty much the same. Okay, Mac and PC, same thing. And then now actually Mac uses Intel CPU anyways, so it's pretty much the same. And then I use Mac just because I used to use Mac more because I had to do some other video work, but then again, like I don't do that much stuff anymore. But yeah, I do have PC as well, but most of my tutorials were made with Mac, but it's pretty much the same. And then and then quite honestly, if you want to work in like in our industry, if you go to AAA studio, all the developers use PC. Okay, period. So probably PC is better. Okay, but yeah, but time to time, like people want to use Mac, but that's fine because Unity is compatible between Mac and PC. Okay, installing, it will be slightly different, so I'll probably update it. But again, like you will download installer, and then it will basically help you install everything. Okay. All right. Then let's actually take a look at this. I want you to open Unity Hub. Okay. And then probably one thing you have to do, okay, this is something you probably you see. Okay, you probably don't see anything here. Okay, and project, learn, and install. And then here, as you can see, you will see this little icon, a profile icon. Okay, if you click on it, you have to get Unity ID. Okay, if you don't have Unity ID by now, please get one. If you already have one, just sign in. Okay. When you sign in, okay, well, actually you can sign in with Google or Facebook. So technically, you don't have to get Unity ID if you like to use Google or Facebook login information. Otherwise, you have to create one. Okay. So if everyone logged in, okay, this is something you can do at your leisure. Okay. You can go to learn. Okay. Can you click learn and see what's installed? Okay, you have all these things. Okay. So here, as you can see, it has bunch of assets you can play with. Okay. So new user micro game. Okay, project beginner 1 hour 25 minutes. Okay. And then you can download project and then you can go to view tutorials. And it will give you this tutorial list, okay, that you can play with. Okay. So, if you have time, yes, we will talk about all these things, but you can go to this, visit these pages, okay, and play with it. And they provide tutorials. Okay. So 3D beginner, then 5 hours 30 minutes. Okay. You can possibly get to know what these are. Okay. Oh, this one, okay, will give you pretty good tutorials, okay, you can play with. Okay. But let's see just a few things together. So these are things you can do later. Okay. And if you go to installs, you will see like Unity versions you have. I have Unity 2019.1.8. You might have something else, but as long as like they're 2019, they're compatible, okay, most likely. And now let's go to project. Okay. And if you look at mine, like I basically have more stuff because I do have some like a collapse project. Okay. And then if you do that, like it usually pops up here. Okay. All right, and what we're going to do, I want you to click new. And here, this is something you will see. You can use existing templates, 2D, 3D, 3D with extra, high definition RP. Why I have two high definition RP, lightweight RP and BR lightweight RP. So now, what I want you to do, I want you to click 3D, okay, and then project name, You can choose whatever you want. I'll just choose test. And location is where you are going to save your project folder. Okay. So if you use your own laptop or computer, you can put it whenever you want, wherever you want. But in this station, make sure you know where you are going to save your file. Okay. Usually, I would recommend save it on the desktop. Okay. Save on the desktop. Okay. And then later, whenever you're done, you want to save it to your OneDrive or USB. Okay. The reason why is if you want to save directly to your USB, sometimes it will take more for you to open it or modify and change it. Okay. So right now, we are going to deal with fairly simple 2D games, so it wouldn't take that much time. But as your project gets bigger, okay, it will take a lot of time for you to open something. Then obviously you want to open it from your PC or laptop or desktop. Okay. For instance, recently, I'm working on this one of the game. Actually, this is simulation. And now my laptop is pretty. This one actually, I'm doing it from my desktop, so it doesn't take that much time. But whenever I download it and open it, it takes a long time. Okay. But anyways, this is one project I do with some construction educational folks. Now we're doing some simulation. Yeah. So again, these are for educational simulation for engineering department, and you see now a Unity or these things use it for not necessarily for game, but for other things. Anyways, okay, I'll go back to Unity Hub, and I'll create new 3D test. I'll put it on the desktop and create. And then basically now what I'm doing is, not this one. Okay, so this is what I have. Okay. And a few things. Okay. Again, in our industry, what really matters is practice. Okay. You have to know what you're doing. Okay. So these are not something you must know, but there are things good to know. Okay. So if you take a look at here, try to take a look at here up top here. Okay. And it says Unity 2019.1.8 F1 personal sample scene.unity test PC Mac Linux standalone personal metal. Okay. What does that mean? Okay. So this is a kind of naming convention that Unity use. Okay. So again, it's not something you must know, but these are something good to know. So here at the beginning, it will basically give you the version you're working on. So probably you might have Unity 2019.2, okay, because that's the version installed in your station. Okay. And then this is a personal edition. And sample scene.unity, this is some a little change they made from 2018 to 2019. Usually they didn't have this sample scenes, but now whenever you open Unity or create new Unity project, automatically you will see this scenes folder, and inside of scenes folder you have this sample scene. Okay. So now sample scene.unity, that's the scene name. Okay. And then test is your project name. Okay. And then this is for, now the setting is PC, Mac, and Linux standalone. Okay. So for instance now, if you look at this one, PC, Mac, Linux standalone, that's a platform that I'm going to deploy this game, okay, for now. Okay. So if you go to like edit, project settings, okay. Actually, oh, okay, file, build settings, okay. And then now I have this PC, Mac, Linux standalone. If I change this to Android and switch platform, oh, I actually didn't download all these things. Let me see what I have. Okay. Oh, I don't have that any other things, but probably you'll be able to switch it to Android. Okay. Then the name will be changed to something, 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 and Android. Okay. So sometimes we can get pretty good information about the project by looking at this, the top portion of your project. Okay. Now another thing is same thing like sample scenes. Okay. We don't have to do this now, but here I can do save as, and I'm going to go into scenes and then like change this to test scene. And now as you can see, well, it's kind of hard to see, but if you did it, now it's read as test.unity test. Previously, okay, here, if I switch it to sample scene, now this is sample scene. Okay, you can go to test scene. Okay. And naming convention. Okay, this is something that we used to do. So what I'm going to do, I'll delete this scene for now. Okay. All right. Oop. So usually what I recommend, okay, once you create new project, okay, then you will see something like this, okay, sample scene. And then what I want you to think about is, go into scene, look at it, there's sample scenes, right? Okay, sample scenes here. And then one thing you can do save as and change its name to something else, okay? So convention we're using in our industry, okay, we like to use name main, okay, main.unity, okay. So sometimes I used to like, it's totally up to you, okay. So, but sometimes I would say, yeah, you don't want to just keep using sample scenes. You don't want that, okay. So first thing I would recommend you to do is open it and then just save your scene as like main, okay, inside of scene. Okay. So you will have this main scene, and then people will know, oh, this is the scene that I have to play. Okay. So if you download some other people's game, okay, you'll see this a lot. Okay. You'll see main scene a lot because that's the convention we are using in this industry. Okay. Or sometimes you'll see main V 1.0, main V like 1.2 to indicate the version. Yeah. So now, that's pretty much it for lesson 2-3. Okay. Yes.
I got a cool question.
Yes.
So, backtracking a little bit at lesson 2.1, when it asked to do the thing on the discussion board with the 3 games and the engines, it also says to get full credit for 1 response and 2 replies. What are we supposed to reply to?
Just say, okay, basically I want to make sure like you look at other people's response. So it could be just simple as I like that game too, or just something that indicate you checked other people's answers. Okay. So sometimes it said like try to review other people's answers and then try not to list the same game. But then again, it's kind of hard for me to check. So go look at it and then just post any like responses such as some game that you liked, or maybe sometimes like you look at the some interesting game they listed and then I didn't know that game was made with Unity or Unreal or some default or something else. Okay. We have actually 6 more minutes. So what I'm going to do, okay. So next week, we're going to look at how to use Unity, okay. And first thing we're going to do is, we'll pretty much play with, get to know interface and what they are and all these things, okay. So you can kind of look at it if you like to use over the weekend. And then next week you will have assignment on creating spinning globe. So this one fairly simple project. I'm going to do this with you, okay, in class. But the end product will be something like this. So you can possibly make something okay, something like this. Fairly simple, but this one is basically for using Unity. You can do this, and then especially for this assignment, we will try to kind of use a little bit of coding. Okay? So this is something we'll do next week, and then so you can think about, okay, first assignment is like making something spin around. Okay? Then you can think about what types of object you want to spin, or you can think about what would be my background to make it unique or something like that. Okay? And before I let you go, I did a mistake. Yes, I did. I closed the whole thing. I want to give you a few actually it's here. I closed it. A few examples of like self-introduction. I'm going to show it to you from previous semesters. So some people like to use like something like this, okay. And then there's a audio. So you can. So this one like actually too much text on the slide, but you can do something like this. You can also use your self-introduction. Technically, if you use Kaltura, okay, you can have like a camera on and then kind of show things. Okay. So this person actually just has a voiceover along with kind of showing his face along with things he likes. I think he has like one game. So this is something you can do. So again, it's not like there's a like form you have to follow, but try to use this 2 minutes, okay, and 2 minutes, and to let us know who you are. Okay. Again, why we're doing this is later on, like for midterm and final, we are going to have group project. So by that time, hopefully you will get to know your classmates pretty well, but this will be kind of like a little ground, some ground information for us to know who you are. Okay, so you can say, oh, this is game I play, or this is the game I like, or this is my identity, like I want to be a programmer or graphic artist or something. So try to think about what's the best way to introduce yourself to your classmates, or how to say for future the team member. So try to think about, oh, if I want to recruit that person in my team, I want to know what types of work or what types of like what things he or she does, like something like that. Yeah, try to think about that. All right, it's almost time. And any question? Yes.
So, for the assignment,
Yeah.
you want us to report something back to her with the presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can use like a media and upload it, or you can just download that MP4 file and then submit it on Blackboard. And I kind of expect or understand this is going to be kind of like first real like submission. So if you have any issues, let me know. Okay, so I understand like there might be little hiccups. Oh, I try to submit but I cannot. But I totally understand. So just let me know. Okay. All right. Yes.
I'm having some trouble on my desktop right now.
Okay,
So I'm
okay.
wondering if, can we use the computers in here outside of class, or is there a lab?
Right now we don't have lab hours yet, but eventually we will have lab hours. And then here, if there's no class, you can come in, but usually we lock the door. So you can actually stay right after this class and use the computer. For this particular assignment, if you don't have an access to like Kaltura somehow, use your cell phone, and then you can do kind of selfie stuff and then submit it. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Any other question? All right. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next week.